So I'm Austin Olin.
Carolyn.
We're going to talk a little bit about how there's a lack of resources that are leading to cyclical child abuse and neglect. And I can start off by just saying that I'm from Indiana, born in Evansville, and I know there's people in here that are also from Indiana. And I could just ask you guys that if you knew that Indiana had the second highest rate in child abuse in the entire country. Because I did not. I thought that was incredible. Not in a good way, but I thought that was really bad. And another fact that I thought just blew my mind was that it more than doubles the national average. And here in Evansville, we're actually kind of right in the heart of the problem because we're 30 minutes away from Kentucky, which is leading the nation with the highest child abuse rate. And that obviously also more than doubles the national average. And that just absolutely blew my mind. It just shows that we have a major problem here, and not only in the entire state of Indiana, but in Kentucky as well and in Evansville. And Governor Eric Holman, who's governor of Indiana now, after finding out this research in earlier 2019, allotted an extra $25 million to the Department of Child Services. But despite this extra increase in funding, there still is no government-funded program that rehabilitates child abuse offenders in Indiana. And I know some of you may be thinking, okay, I don't know anybody that's been involved in this, and I haven't seen a direct effect or impact from this situation. But you just didn't know it, because in a 2005 study by Prevent Child Abuse LLC showed that child abuse and neglect actually leads to an increase in intellectual, behavioral, and physical health problems in those children as they get older. The intellectual problems can be things just as they're having trouble learning as fast as everybody else in their classes. Behavioral problems can lead to criminal behavior as they get older. And physical health problems can actually be as serious as lung disease, heart disease, and diabetes as they get older. And that leads to an increase in taxes, so money coming out of your pockets, as well as a burden on your local healthcare system, your local educational system, and your local justice system. So obviously this is having a huge impact, not only on just the state, but on our local community and on everybody in that community.
So our problem pain statement is going to be there's currently not enough focused effort on rehabilitating, counseling, and educating the parents who are inflicting abuse or neglect on their children in Southwest Indiana, nor are their current efforts affordable to these individuals. So there are a couple of local organizations that are trying to fix the current problem, such as Holly's House, Lesbian Society of Inside. Holly's House is trying to basically, through counseling, help the victim of abuse and mostly just child abuse, just trying to help them through counseling. Lesbian Center as well, there's acting sort of a bridge between the people who got abused as well, also through counseling. And then with Inside, they're mostly doing counseling as well to the people who got emotionally abused or physically abused as well. And so as you can hear, they're primarily dealing with the children and not with the parents, and so the main source of help is the counseling children, less educating adults and the parents. Although Child Protective Services, they're taking a little bit different approach, so their main goal is to reunite the families or find new home to those who got abused in the past. And so as you can see from this picture, the biggest portion is 54% of money allocated goes to child and family services, and only, to foster care, and only 8% goes to rehabilitating and counseling, which is obviously not enough, and that's why it makes kind of the cycle just keeps going back and back. And this is kind of the biggest problem right now, because they're not really fixing the problem, they're just kind of putting the Band-Aid on it, and so that's why the cycle just keeps going back and forth.
So as Ilya was saying, the problem is they're focusing entirely on the children. Obviously that is a big portion of what should be done, but the parents are just being either incarcerated, fined, or put on probation, and then they're just released back out, and then they commit the same crime over and over, and it's just a vicious cycle. Well, our solution here is there's actually an organization in New Mexico, forgive me for my Spanish, but Las Cumbres organization. They have a program called, it's a long acronym, CBCAP, stands for Community-Based Child Abuse Program, and they partner with local correctional facilities. So if it was here, it would be, one could be the Rockport Correctional Facility, and that's located in Rockport, about 45 minutes away, as well as CPS, to find these child abuse and child neglect offenders and rehabilitate them. And what they focus mainly on is educating these offenders and showing them the impact that they're having, not only on their children, but also on the entire society, and just providing awareness for these offenders, as well as helping them build an emotional connectedness with their child, because they found that actually once that emotional connectedness and once that relationship is built, the parental skills kind of come naturally. It's all about finding that relationship and that emotional connectedness with that child. And so they have a 93 to 96% success rate, and that was out of 163 families that were helped in 2016. And by success, we mean that 93 to 96% of those families did not have another referral to CPS within the next 2 years. So that's an incredible success rate, and that is something that we could implement here in Evansville. As I said, they could partner with Rockport and CPS and just really provide education and awareness for these parents. The opportunity size, obviously the primary target being the offenders, but you can also target just parents of any kind, not even just any type of parent of any child and any type of guardian, and just provide awareness to them that this is having a major impact on their society and how they could get involved to stop this problem and stop this cycle. The Indiana community also being involved would help. And we spoke to Jennifer Childers, who is at the Lampions Center. As Ilya mentioned, that is one of the centers here in Evansville that provides counseling. But they mainly, and she even said that one of their problems is they mainly focus on the children in these cases. And obviously that is a huge part of what should be done, but since they're not government funded, they can't help the parents because the parents can't afford the counseling, and since they're not government funded, they can't just help them for free. And so that's one of the major problems that we're having. And the differences between our program and current programs like Lampions Center, Holly's House, is those programs do offer crisis intervention. They do offer child and collective family counseling, but they do not offer just parental classes and education on how they're impacting society. And they do not offer home visits. They do not offer transportation assistance. So, I mean, a lot of these parents come from low-income places. They don't have a ride to these counseling centers, and they're not going to go. And so that's what the CBCAP program provides. They provide all of that and many more different opportunities for these parents.
So our value proposition is going to be for parents and child abuse offenders who require the support and resources necessary to build healthy relationships. The community-based child abuse program provides the education, rehabilitation, and resources that are needed. Unlike, as Austin said, Lampions Center and other counseling services currently offered, this program focuses on educating the parents and building this strong relationship and emotional connection between the parent and the child, rather than focusing just on the child.
That's our
Thank you.
presentation.
Thanks.